Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Comedy this hour as we check in on what's going on in Summerfield, particularly with the Water Commissioner, Harold Peary, starring as the Great Gildersleeve. As we go back to May 20th, 1949, Gildy found some money, and he's trying to figure out what to do with it.
Kraft presents The Great Gildersleeve. The Kraft Cheese Company, makers of parquet margarine and a complete line of famous quality food products, presents Harold Peary as The Great Gildersleeve. Kraft brings you The Great Gildersleeve every week at this time, written by John Wheaton and Sam Moore, with music by Claude Sweeten. Now let's see what's happening to the Great Gildersleeve. We find him opening his morning mail, and among the circulars from plumbers, investment houses, and people who want to sell him a used car is a letter postmarked Wistful Vista.
Well, Wistful Vista.
Is it from Fibber McGee, Uncle Mort?
I suppose so, Leroy. Wonder what the little squirt wants now.
Is it from Mr. McGee?
No. Listen to this, children.
Who's it from?
The First National Bank of Wistful Vista.
Uh-oh.
You're wrong, Leroy. Listen, dear Mr. Gildersleeve, upon checking over our records, we find you have an unclaimed savings account with us, which we have taken the liberty of transferring to your bank in Summerfield. The amount with interest to date is $209.14.
We're ready! Yay!
I can't believe it.
What's going on in here?
We're rich, Bertie. Uncle Mort found some money.
My, this family gets crazier every day.
Stop it. Now, we're not rich, Bertie. We never will be.
You don't have to tell me, Mr. Gildersleeve. I gave up long ago.
But apparently I have come into a little money.
Where you going, huh?
I'm going to call Mr. Todd at the bank. I'm going to ask him if the money's come in. This might be McGee's idea of a joke, you know.
Some joke.
No worse than some of the... Oh, hello, Mr. Todd there. Mr. Gildersleeve. But if it is a gag, I'll take that little twerp McGee and squeeze $219.14 right out of his ears. Hello, Mr. Todd. I want to find out if you've received a deposit from my account this morning from... You did? That's right, $209.14. Thank you.
Oh,
Stop it, you'll shake down the house.
What are you going to buy with all that money, Unc?
Well, I'm going to think it over. And in order to think, I need to be alone. And to be alone, I need a cigar. See you later, children.
Oh, that isn't fair.
Well, hello, Mr. Gildersleeve. What can I do for you this morning?
I'll tell you, Peavy. Give me 1,050-cent cigars.
What's that? Oh. Shall I put them in the bag, or will you just smoke them here?
Only joking, Peavy.
So is I.
But it just so happens I could almost buy 1,000 cigars today. Had a little windfall this morning. Savings account I'd forgotten all about.
You don't say.
Yep.
I've never been able to forget a penny. It must be a wonderful feeling.
Great. But I'm not blowing it all on cigars, Peavy. Let me have 3 of those 3 for halves.
Yes, sir. That'll be 62 cents.
62 cents for 50 cents worth of cigars. That's inflation, Peavy.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that. It's all taxes.
Oh, well, so long as I'm rich.
I wonder if you've considered investing this windfall, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Investing it? Well, I hadn't thought of that, but it might be a good idea.
Well, you could spend it, only most of the stuff you buy these days is junk. But after the war...
You're right. They're going to be reconverting pretty soon.
No, I wouldn't say that. The war isn't over.
Well, it's all over in Europe. If I take this money and put it into some company with good reconversion program, maybe I can get in on the ground floor or something nice and solid. Television, maybe.
Well, I wasn't thinking...
Air conditioning, maybe, Peavy. Or aviation. Everybody's going to own helicopters after the war.
I was thinking of something a lot solider than helicopters, Mr. Gildersleeve.
What was that?
I was thinking of war bonds. Care to buy one?
Oh. Well,
I'm sorry to bring this up, Mr. Gildersleeve, but I have a quota, and I thought that since you'd come into some money...
Well, Peavy, war bonds are a fine investment. Fine investment. Every citizen owes it to his country to invest in war bonds. It helps finance the war, and it helps control inflation.
That's what I say.
Yes, sir. Put me down for a $25 bond.
That'll be $18.75.
Yes, sir. Glad to do my bit, Peavy. At the same time, a man's got to think of his future. So I'll just look around for some industrial investments, too. Reconversion is important, Peavy. They need capital.
Who?
Oh, various manufacturers. I'll find somebody that needs money, don't worry.
I don't doubt you can do that.
Say, what am I worrying about? I got a financier right in my front yard. I'll bet Rumson Bullard knows plenty about investments.
What makes you think so?
Because he's retired. A fellow that retires has to have his money invested, and he has to watch it like a hawk, Peavy. If he loses it, he's got to go back to work.
Dear me.
Yes, sir. Should have thought of that in the first place. I'll go see Rumson Bullard right away.
What about the bond, Mr. Gildersleeve?
I'll pay you later.
Is that you, Unc?
Yeah, it's me.
Oh, boy, I've decided what I want to buy, Unc. Don't pay any attention to Leroy, Uncle Mort. I thought of something really practical.
Now, I'm not going to buy anything, so just save your breath.
Oh, Unc, I only want an electric saw. It only costs $16.50.
But we really need a sofa, Uncle Mort. I'm absolutely ashamed of ours every time Marshal Bullard comes over.
Yep. I didn't come home to argue with you children, and I'm not going to spend the money on fripperies. I'm going to invest it. Will you get out of my way, please, Leroy?
Me?
I'd like to go upstairs and put on a clean shirt if you'll permit me.
For corn's sake, you just got dressed.
Well, I'm going over and see Mr. Bullard for a minute, and I
Uncle Mort, the furniture in this house is awful. The couch isn't fit to sit on alone, even.
The discussion is closed, Marjorie.
Well, I don't see why you should change your shirt just to go to see Mr. Bullard. You ought to see what he's got on.
I'm not changing it for him, Leroy. I just didn't notice when I dressed this morning how worn this shirt was. What's Bullard got on?
An old pair of pants like the ones you gave the clothing drive. And a dirty old sweater.
Is he doing some work in the yard?
No, he's just knocking a golf ball around out behind his house.
Golf ball? Well, that ought to be easy. I guess I won't change my clothes after all. Well, Mr. Bullard, another addict of the grand old game, I see.
What? Oh, hello, Gildersleeve. You play golf?
Do I play golf? I'm afraid I'll have to plead guilty. Nice putting stance you've got.
Ernie Trafton taught it to me. He's the pro at the Stony Meadows Club out on Long Island.
Oh, yes, I've heard of him. Is that where you played back east?
Mostly. That was my home club. Most of my friends played there.
A lot of Wall Streeters, I presume.
Wall Streeters?
Well, I imagine most of your friends were big stock market operators, weren't they?
Oh, no, just ordinary businessmen. Want to try a couple of putts?
Oh, thanks. I guess you've played the market in your time, haven't you, Mr. Bullard?
Well, I fooled with it a little, but it's bad medicine. Go on, hit the ball. The hole is that tin right over there.
Well, that's pretty clever, that little tin. Oh, yes, sir. But as I was saying, I'm thinking of reinvesting some of my investments. Some of my funds, Mr. Bullard, and I just thought that maybe as an old market manipulator, you might know a little inside information you'd be willing to pass along to a neighbor.
Well, I'll give you a tip.
I'm listening, Mr. Bullard.
Put your money in war bonds. And if you're not going to hit the ball, give me back my putter.
Well, I might as well putt.
Not bad. Wait, I'll drop another ball and see if I can beat you. There. Now.
We're about even. No, I think you're a little better. You were with United Refrigeration, weren't you, Mr. Bullard?
With them for 20 years, yes.
I was wondering, what would you think of United Refrigeration as an investment?
Gildersleeve, take my advice and stay out of the market. It's no place for amateurs, as I found out myself.
You'll never convince me you're an amateur, Mr. Bullard.
I'm not even that now. I'm out of it. Well, that is practically out of it.
I knew it. You've still got an interest in the company, haven't you?
Well, naturally.
Tell me, They'll be reconverting one of these days, won't they?
Of course they will. Well, that is, I suppose they will. I haven't any inside information.
Oh, no? Thanks very much, Mr. Bullard.
But what...
A word to the wise is sufficient. But don't worry, I won't tell anybody else. These millionaires are all alike. Cagey, trying to pretend he wasn't in the market. Just afraid some more smart people will get in there, too. Make it tough for him. But he certainly gave himself away. Yes, sir. Just grabbed myself a few shares of that United... Leroy! Confound that kid. I don't know how many times I've told him not to leave that bicycle on the side.
Call me up.
Get this bicycle off the walk. It almost broke my neck just now.
Can I leave that there? Sorry, Unc.
I'm tired of hearing you say that, Leroy.
Well, there goes my electric saw. Darn the luck. Why did he have to trip over it? Gosh, if I found $200 practically lying in the street, I'd buy stuff for everybody. Expensive stuff, too. I'd buy everything I saw in Hogan's department store window.
I won't be able to get all this furniture immediately, but if certain plans work out...
Oh, Unky, darling.
Furniture.
Now, my dear, there's nothing certain yet. Of course, it isn't certain the sun will rise tomorrow either.
How soon will you know?
Won't take very long if my calculations are correct. There might be a waffle iron for you, too, Bertie.
Mr. Gildersleeve, if you buy me a waffle iron, I promise you won't regret it.
Yeah, I know that, Bertie.
Waffle iron.
And if everything goes well, I might even get Leroy that electric saw. But don't tell him I said so.
The old son of a gun. Well, I'll play along with him.
Great Gildersleeve will be with us again in just a few seconds.
May 20th, 1945, The Great Gildersleeve on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, more of The Great Gildersleeve, May 20th, 1945.
Now let's get back to Gildersleeve. Gildersleeve the financier. For 3 days, he's been following the ups and downs of the stock market, and he's been like a kid on a roller coaster. Fortunately, there have been more ups than downs. Today, the 50 shares of United Refrigeration, which he bought at 4 1/4, have skyrocketed to 7.
7.5.
7.5. Now, when Gildersleeve gets hold of a good thing, he's not a man to keep it to himself. So when he sees his next-door neighbor, Mrs. Ransom, going by, he runs to the window and hollers.
Leela! Leela, where are you going?
Oh, hello, Throckmorton.
Wait a minute, I'll be right out. Wait up, Leela. What's your hurry?
I'm on my way to the lending library. Miss Trimble just phoned me. I'm next on the list for Forever Amber.
Well, forget it, Leela. Come on up on the porch and sit down.
Oh, I can't.
Oh, come on.
I can't. I've been waiting 2 months for this book. I'll save it for you when I've finished, if you like.
Oh, I'm too busy to do any reading these days.
Well, if you're so busy, what are you doing home in the middle of the afternoon? Why aren't you down at the water department?
I'm letting my secretary handle that. I have more important things to attend to. Come on. Sit down for a minute, Leela.
You're being very mysterious, Throckmorton.
Well, I don't tell everything I know. But you'd better be nice to me just the same.
Now, why should I be nice to you? What have you ever done to deserve it?
Nothing. I just thought you might like to know that I came into a little money recently, that's all.
Let's sit right down here on the grass. Throckmorton, stop it.
Why should I?
Please, there's a little boy coming.
Oh, him. Hello, Craig.
Where's Leroy? I want him to play with me.
Leroy? He's in the house somewhere, I guess. Why don't you go ring the bell?
Who's she?
Well, this is Mrs. Ransom. She lives next door, Craig. Leela, this is Craig Bullard.
Oh, how do you do, Craig? My, you're a fine big boy, aren't you?
Where's Mr. Ransom?
Mr. Ransom is no longer with us. Now, if you want Leroy, just go ring the bell.
I want him to come out. I want him to play with me.
Well, just go ring the bell and he'll come out.
What are you doing?
We're sitting on the grass. What does it look like we're doing?
I want Leroy to come out and play with me.
All right, go get him. We're busy here. Ye God.
Just go right up to the door, honey. Don't be afraid. Leroy! Oh, Leroy! Leroy isn't here!
He's there, all right, Craig. Just walk in. Now, where were we? Oh, yes.
Throckmorton, you were telling me about some money or something.
You stick with me, Leela, and you'll wear diamonds.
Oh, I couldn't possibly accept a diamond from a man I'm not even engaged to.
Well, I didn't mean that literally.
Oh.
But I can tell you how to make some money, Leela, if you'd like to.
Would I have?
Promise you'll be nice to me?
We'll see.
Well, come here.
What for?
I want to whisper in your ear.
Whisper what?
A secret.
What's the secret?
United Refrigeration.
What?
United Refrigeration, Leela. It's a stock. I bought 50 shares at 4 1/4 3 days ago, and already it's up to 7 1/2.
Is that good?
Good? If it keeps on at that rate, Leela, I figure in 4 months it'll reach 132. That's where I sell. And make a tidy little profit.
Oh, I think it's so exciting. I've always been dying to make some money in the stock market, but my husband, Beauregard, he was always so conservative. All he left me was some little old municipal bonds. You know what I'm going to do. I'm going to sell them and buy what you've got.
And you know what I'm going to do, Leela? I'm going to collect a little broker's fee right now.
Throckmorton, let go, silly. Here comes Judge Hooker.
Oh?
Well, a little gambling on the green, huh?
You mind your own business, Horace.
Oh, Horace, I'm so glad you're here. After all, you're my attorney.
You need one?
Well, I suppose I ought to consult you as long as you're here. You know those little old municipal bonds that Beauregard left me?
Sound as the Rock of Gibraltar, Leela. Not a thing to worry about.
Yes. Well, I've decided to sell them.
What?
I'm going to sell them and buy some stocks, the kind that Throckmorton has.
Leela, are you crazy?
Now, just a minute.
Gildersleeve knows absolutely nothing about the stock market.
Listen,
Why,
people go around making such a mystery out of the stock market. It's as simple as ABC, Judge. Just buy when it's low and sell when it's high. That's all.
Huh. How do you know when a stock's going to go up? How do you know that it won't go down?
Never mind how I know. I know, that's all. I bought 50 shares 3 days ago at 4 1/4, and already it's up to 7 1/2.
What did you say was the name of the stock?
Ha! I'm not telling. But if Leela here wants to buy some...
Uncle Mort!
Yes, my dear?
Your secretary's calling from the office.
Tell her I'm in conference. Tell her I can't be disturbed. I'll call her back.
I've been telling her that all day.
And Marjorie...
Yes?
Do me a favor. Call up Mr. Todd at the bank again and ask him the latest quotation on United Refrigeration.
Ask him what?
Just ask him how my stock is doing. He'll understand. I've been in touch with him all day.
The market's closed by now.
Oh, ask him what time the market opens in the morning.
Now, Leela, my advice to you is let the stock market strictly alone.
Leela is taking her advice from me, Judge.
Well, come to think of it, Horace may be right, Throckmorton. Down home, everybody said poor old Colonel DeLacy never would have shot himself if it hadn't been for the market. And, of course, they're all as poor as church mice now, the DeLacy's.
Why, I know of a case right here in town. Man bought stocks on margin, got caught short, and wound up committing forgery. In the pen right now. And his family's on relief. I hope you haven't bought this stock on margin, Gildy.
What did he say, Marjorie? Did you get him? What did he say?
He said the stock is at 9.
9? Hee-hee. That's up 1.5 points. What did I tell you?
And the market opens at 5.
5 o'clock in the morning? That's impossible. It opens at 9.
Oh, that's right. It's the market that opens at 9. He said the stock has dropped to 5.
5? Oh, what do you think, Judge? Do you think I ought to sell?
There's not a thing you can do till tomorrow, Gildy. My advice to you is to sleep on it.
Sleep on it? How am I going to sleep on a thing like that? I won't sleep a wink, Judge.
Now, Gildy, I wouldn't worry. I have a very simple rule that I follow in these cases.
Oh? What's that?
Buy when it's low and sell when it's high.
Oh, go on and laugh, you old ghost. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 o'clock. I'll never get to sleep.
Not being able to get to sleep is horrible. May 20th, 1945, The Great Gildersleeve on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. The conclusion follows these messages from your favorite radio station. That's one of them now. Just going to take a minute here to tell you about the big savings going on now, the clearance sale at mypillow.com. And you know, I've talked about how in my office I have a pair of my slippers, and they're really comfortable, and they're on clearance right now. The mypillow.com slippers, $25 a pair, limit 10. And I would buy 3 or 4 more pairs. Unfortunately, they're out of my size. They also have sheets, pillowcases, clothing items, all on special right now. Go to mypillow.com, click on the clearance tab at the top of the page, use my promo code Wyatt, or call 1-800-928-4715. Limited sizes remaining in the MyPillow slippers, limited colors on other items. mypillow.com, clearance tab, promo code Wyatt, 1-800-928-4715. Classic Radio Theater on your favorite radio station. I'm Wyatt Cox. Now the conclusion of The Great Gildersleeve, May 20th, 1945.
Why did I do it? Why did I do it?
7 1/2, 7 1/4, 7, 6 3/4, 6 1/2, 6 1/4.
Buy when it's low and sell when it's high.
Oh, shut up.
6, 5 3/4, 5 1/2.
Oh, no.
5 1/4, 5, 4 1/2.
What happened to 4 3/4?
4 1/4, 4. More margin, please.
But I can't.
More margin.
Well, give me time. Give me time. Peavy, I've tried everybody in this town. At least you're my friend. You'll lend me some money, won't you, Peavy?
Well, no, I wouldn't say that.
Mr. Todd, please, you've got me with my back to the wall. If you say no, I'm ruined.
No.
But this bank, I'm an old depositor here.
I'm sorry, Mr. Gildersleeve. We're not in business for our health.
Then think of my children. My little nephew, Leroy.
Oh, what do you read? I get your papers here. Please, mister, buy a paper. Please, I'm hungry.
And my little niece, Marjorie.
In the name of sweet charity, anything at all. A crust of bread, even. Not for myself, but for my poor old uncle. He can't even go out of the house. He hasn't any shoes.
Bless her heart. And then there's good old Bertie.
Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Nobody knows.
How about it, Mr. Todd? Are you going to let these children starve? Are you going to let them sell Bertie down the river?
Sorry, Mr. Gildersleeve. We'll have to close you out.
Holy smoke, what's the matter?
Thief, what's it for?
Uncle Mort, Leroy, what's happened?
Oh, it's all right. Unc just fell out of bed.
What time is it?
About 8:30.
8:30. The market opens at 9. Get out of here. I've got to get some clothes on. I've got to get over and see Bullard. Oh, hello, Craig. Is your daddy in?
Where's Leroy?
Leroy is at home. Is your papa in?
I want Leroy to come over and play with me.
Look, Craig, I'm a little in a bit of a hurry. Yes, it's important. Is your father home? I want to see him.
What do you want to see him about?
Never mind what I want to see him about. Just go tell him I'm here.
Someone at the door, Craig?
A man.
Yeah.
Oh, hello there, Gildersleeve. Run along, Craig, and go and finish your breakfast.
Mr. Bullard, I don't know if you heard, but United Refrigeration's dropped 2 points.
Well?
Well, I thought you'd want to know. I mean, we got to do something. I mean, you've got influence. If you threw your support behind it when the market opens...
What business is it of mine?
Well, you own stock in it, don't you?
United Refrigeration? I told you I got rid of all of that 2 years ago. As a matter of fact, I got rid of all my stock 2 years ago.
But I thought...
Yes, sir. I sold out all my holdings, and I put in every nickel I had into government securities.
Government securities?
War bonds. And between you and me, I've never regretted it. No blood pressure when the market drops. No more indigestion. And I can sleep like a baby at night.
Well, that's more than I can say.
After all, I don't know where you're going to find a smarter investment, but then I don't need to tell you.
Oh, no. No, indeed. Not us smart fellows. Well, thanks for the tip, Mr. Bullard. I mean, well, thanks anyway. Got to be going now. Just thought I'd drop in and say hello.
Look out there. Oh, I told Craig not to leave that there.
Everywhere I go, bicycles. Mr. Todd, I've got to see you.
Well, Mr. Gildersleeve, feeling bullish this morning?
I'm feeling terrible. I want to sell out. I want to dump all my holdings.
You're sure you've considered this?
All night long.
Well, after all, you've only held the stock for 3 days.
You don't have to run a horse all season to know when it's a dog.
Oh, Miss Honraz, what's the latest quotation on United Refrigeration?
United Refrigeration opened at 4 1/4.
That's just what I paid for it.
Well, now, it might go up.
It might go down. Sell it before I go crazy.
Sell 50 shares for Mr. Gildersleeve's account. Now, might I ask you, Mr. Gildersleeve, if you're contemplating some other investment?
You darn right I am. War bonds.
A very wise choice. There's no sounder investment. How much shall I put you down for?
Oh, no, you don't. I'm buying these from a place I can trust.
Well, Mr. Gildersleeve, war bonds are war bonds, no matter where you buy them.
Well, I'm not taking any chances. I'm buying mine at the drugstore. And not only that, Peavy, it's your patriotic duty.
That's what I say.
This war isn't over yet. No, sir. We still got the Japs to beat.
That's what I say.
You hear all this talk about post-war conversion. I'll bet you don't hear any of that on Okinawa.
That's what I say.
Any man who doesn't put every cent he's got into war bonds, he's not only unpatriotic, but he's a darn fool. Because war bonds are the best investment in this world, bar none. So don't let anybody come in here and tell you ought to ease off on the war bonds and put your money into something else. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Well?
That's what I say.
Very well. And if I ever do it again, Peavy, I hope you'll give me a good swift kick in the shins.
Well, no, I wouldn't do that.
I mean it, Peavy. Well, goodbye, Peavy.
Goodbye, Mr. Gildersleeve. The bonds will be mailed to you. And thanks for the order.
Not at all, Peavy. Thank you.
The Great Gildersleeve. Good name for him. What a character. Well, it takes all kinds, doesn't it? That's what I say.
I heard that, Peavy. Good night, everybody.
Music on this program was directed by Claude Sweet. This is Ken Carpenter speaking for the Kraft Cheese Company, makers of Parquet margarine and a complete line of famous quality food products. Kraft invites you to listen again next week at the same time for the further adventures of the Great Gildersleeve.
You knew when it was money, and Gildersleeve was trying to figure out where to invest his money, and it's the tail end of World War II. War bonds would be the answer. May 20th, 1945, The Great Gildersleeve on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thanks to Ted at RadioMemories.com for this episode of Lum and Abner, May 20th, 1935. Are the statues coming?
everybody. Here we are, all ready to take you down to Pine Ridge for another visit with Lum and Abner. And now, let's see what's happening down in Pine Ridge. Since Squire Skimp has taken Lum and Abner's hogs to Chicago to sell for them, the old fellows have decided to use part of the money to have a large statue made of themselves to present to the citizens of Pine Ridge. Lum has been dickering with Caleb Weehunt, the local blacksmith, on having the statue made. As we look in on Pine Ridge today, we find Lum down at the Jot 'em Down store, and Abner is just entering. Listen.
Well, where you been, Abner? You've been gone over an hour now.
I've been down to the blacksmith shop talking to Caleb about that statuary. I about made up my mind to stay out of that statuary, Lum. Just let you make one of you in the hog.
What's the matter now?
Well, Caleb admits himself that he don't believe he can make nothing out of concrete that'll look like us. I don't see no sense in putting up a statuary that nobody won't know what it is.
Well, I believe I've got a new idea on that now, Abner. See, I got a catalogue here from that monument maker in there at the county seat.
Monument?
Yeah.
I know I don't want no monument made of me. Not while I'm living, anyway.
I never said nothing about having a monument made. I said the catalogue was from the monument man in there. He can order a statuary first. See, here's a whole catalogue full of them.
Have they got some in there of us?
No, of course not. But I was just glancing through here. I believe we can just order one of these and get the monument man in there to change the faces on them and put some different kind of reading at the bottom of them there.
Different kind of reading?
Well, yeah, like this in here. It says, the end of the trail. See, that's an Indian sitting there on his horse.
Well, that's the end of the trail, all right. That horse looks sick. He couldn't have gone another foot, Lum. You can tell that by looking at him.
Well, see, now, if I was going to order this one for myself, I could get that monument maker to put down there Lum Edwards, the horseback rider, or something like that. So he just changed it up.
Well, I thought you wanted me and a hog in there with you.
Oh, I ain't going to order this, and I just said if we was.
Oh, yeah.
No, if I was just trying to find one for myself, it'd be plumb easy. See, here's one right here. I'd just give my right arm to have.
Which one's that?
That in there.
Why, I know him. Yeah, I know. I saw him summer.
No, I mean, you never ever saw that man.
Yes, I have too, Lum. He must have lived around here summers, for that I saw that face 1,000 times. I never forget a face. I can't call his name, but I know I saw that man before.
Yeah, you saw him, but you don't know him, Abner. That's Abraham Lincoln, who that is.
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah, that's who it is. I know that face was familiar.
See, I wouldn't have to change his face up hardly at all. Just chisel them side whiskers off of him and them down on his chin there and put a mustache on him, and there I'd be. I've always said me and him looked enough alike to be own blood kin.
Yeah, that's right, dog, you do. You sure do. Except in the face.
He always did put me in mind of myself some way or other. Abraham Lincoln did. Great man, Mr. Lincoln. No wonder they call him the father of our country.
Well, for the lands, is them second-hand monuments that they're selling there, Lum?
Second-hand?
Yeah.
I reckon not. Look at them prices there, and you won't think they're second-hand.
Well, who in the world would want to buy that thing all broke up like that, then?
Where?
Right there.
Oh, yeah. Why, that's Venus. Her arms are supposed to be broke off like that.
Yeah, don't get nothing like that, Lum. I want myself to be in good shape. I know that. Reckon how she got all crippled up that way.
I don't know. I ain't never heard the story of her life.
Poor thing. Poor little thing.
There's one there that I like the looks of about as well as any. I was just looking at that one when you come in just now.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's called the Spirit of 76. That's what Lindbergh flew across the ocean. No, that's the Spirit of St. Louis. See, these are soldiers.
Well, we ain't soldiers, Lum.
Well, no, but folks 100 years from now won't know where we was or not. See, that statuary there is going to be here for a long time after we're gone.
Yeah, but that monument ain't got no hog on it, Lum.
No, that's what stumped me right there. I'd have figured out some way around that.
And it's got one too many men in it, too. We don't need that in there on the end with that stick in his mouth there.
Stick in his mouth?
Yeah, that one right there.
That ain't no stick. That's a piccolo or a trombone or something. He's playing that for the rest of them to march by.
Oh.
See, he was the one I was picking on for you.
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I'd rather be that than on this side there playing a drum, Lum. That's what I like, drum.
Why, he's just a little boy, Abner. You wouldn't want to be him.
Well, you said that monument feller's going to change their faces anyway. Give me put some chin whiskers and a pair of spectacles on him. Why, You wouldn't look like no little boy. You never seen no little boy that age with chin whiskers long.
Well, Abner, I wanted to be the man there in the middle playing the drum myself. We don't want two drummers. That's the reason I picked this feller over here playing the piccolo for you.
Yeah, well, now, you're just wasting your time, Lum. I ain't going to be him. In the first place, I don't know how to play one of them things.
Well, you don't have to play it. The whole thing's made out of concrete. You couldn't play it if you wanted to.
Well, if I ain't going to play on it, well, what's the use of having it in there then?
Well, we can take the piccolo out of it then.
Yeah, that ain't going to look right neither. My hands will still be up there. Folks will be wondering what I'm a-doing. Another thing, he's got his head all bandaged up there. Looks like he's got a splitting headache.
Oh, no, he's been shot in the head. That's the reason for that bandage.
Well, I know I don't want to be him, man.
Well, all right, then. You can be the little boy. I'll be him. We both can't be playing the drums. I know that.
Well, Lum, what are you going to do with that fella there, that in the middle here?
Well, I don't know. If that was a hog you was carrying there instead of a drum, we could call him John Doe. Have Lum Edwards, John Doe, and Abner Peabody, the Hog King.
Well, would he help us pay for it?
Who?
That John Doe, whoever he is. If he's going to be in it, you ought to pay his part.
Well, Abner, there ain't no such person as John Doe.
Oh, you just made that name up, huh?
No, it's a name you always use in legal matters. Use that instead of folks' real name, you know.
Uh-huh. Well, what is his real name?
Who?
That fella there that you was going to call John Doe.
I don't know what his name is. Don't reckon he's got none. I don't know none of them fellers' names.
Why, that's Abner Peabody right there, don't you know? And that and you.
Well, them ain't the ones that's bothering me, though. It's that feller in the middle. What are we going to do with him?
Well, we might get Dick Huddleston or Grandpappy Spears to go in with us on the statuary and pay their part and call that one of them.
Well, they ain't hog kings, though, Abner.
Well, is that feller John or whatever his name is he one?
John Doe?
Yeah, is he a hog king?
Well, he's anything you want to call him.
Well, let's just call him the Hog Gang. No, that wouldn't look right to have a hog standing up there playing a drum. Besides, I'm going to be playing a drum, too. Might get us mixed up. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to see if that monument man could take and just cut him clean out of there and set a hog in there twixt us.
Well, now, what about them others? Ain't none of them others in there that'll do?
No, I've looked through it. Most of them is single fellers, or just one of them.
Well, looky there. That's the ugliest woman I ever seen in my life. Who's she, Lum?
Where?
That and stand there barefooted with that ribbon tied around her head.
That ain't no woman. That ain't even a ribbon around his head. That's a wreath of leaves of some kind. That's Julius Caesar. See his name down there?
Well, what's he wearing that dress for, then?
That's the way the men dressed in them days.
Well, big sissies.
Sissies?
Yeah,
Why, he was one of the greatest fighters of all times. He was a great warrior.
I can whip anybody that wears a dress and a ribbon around his head. I don't care when he lives. Look at him stand there reading that newspaper.
Newspaper?
Yeah.
That ain't no newspaper. They never even had newspapers in them days. That's a scroll. A letter. That's the way they sent their mail in them days.
Well, and from an expression on his face there, Lum, that must be one of them chain letters. More like they got one back without no dime in it.
No, that's more likely a legal document of some kind. That's another thing, Abner. If we're going to be hog kings, we ought to have a crown of some kind.
I believe that's our ring, Lum.
Yeah, I'll answer. More than likely for me anyway.
Here, let me have that catalog while you're talking.
Here. Hello?
I'll find one in here.
Jot him down, store. Oh, why, this is him a-talking. Who? Chicago? Yes, Mom, I'll pay for it. Chicago call and collect.
Well, what do you know about that? You mean the whole town's calling you?
No, I've got ideas to Squire Skimp. Maybe he's got some news about the hogs. Yes, Mom? Hello? Squire?
Yes, who's this, Squire?
Yeah? Why, just fine. How's yourself?
I hear him talking clean over here.
How's the weather way up there?
Sound like he's saying, wah.
Well, I can hear you just as well as if you're next door here. Have you sold the hogs yet? It is. Says the market's flooded up there.
Well, I feared them rains are going to cause some damage.
Well, what do you aim to do, Squire?
Be about our luck for the whole bunch to get drowned.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, Squire. Just go ahead and use your own judgment, I reckon.
Wonder if hogs can swim.
Yeah, I know it's bound to be running into a lot of money. Well, let us hear from you the minute you make a deal, Squire. The whole town's anxious to know what you get for 'em and all.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Squire, I will. All right, much obliged for calling. Goodbye. Well, maybe we better sort of hold off on that statuary, Abner, till we find out what Squire gets for them hogs. He says he can't sell 'em, and he's having to buy feed for 'em and pay rent for a place to keep 'em.
Oh, my goodness, that's just going to ruin us, Lum. Him spending all that money, we won't have nothing left over.
Wait a minute, Abner.
Huh?
Sorry, ring again.
You don't reckon he sold 'em already, do you?
Hello? He said, got 'em down, store. Mom? Oh, all right. All right. Thank you, Mom.
What's the matter, Lum?
That phone call was $18.36. Put the book up, Abner. I don't even want to see it.
Well, this report from Squire Skimp looks like a setback to Lum and Abner's plans for a statue. This is Carlton Brickert, speaking for Lum and Abner and Horlicks, who now bid you all good night and good health.
Youngsters will never understand collect calls today, will they? May 20th, 1935. Lum and Abner, courtesy of Ted at RadioMemories.com. RadioMemories.com. Shows on cassette, CD, or on flash drive for your computer. Visit our webpage, classicradio.stream. Classicradio.stream. Stream our shows. Learn about building a classic radio collection of your own. You can contact me there. Find our social media links. You can also find lists of sites that have our shows available via podcast. So you can find them that way easy. And most importantly, buy me a coffee if you'd like to help us. That Buy Me a Coffee money goes toward us acquiring additional classic radio collections and helps us maintain our distribution channels. Classicradio.stream. Have yourself a great day. Tell all your friends the greatest radio shows of all time are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.